Hi everyone. In this video I want to talk to you about what it takes to file patents and to actually get patents approved and why that is so important. I want to share with you my experience through my journey as an entrepreneur, as an engineer, as a tech developer, how that happened to me and what are the things that I had to pass through, and share with you a bunch of insights that for sure are going to be useful for you. So we are going to discuss many topics that are related to creating technology and filing patents around that technology and how startups are connected to those patents and technologies and how you can leverage them in many senses. Patents are a way to protect your intellectual property, and especially focusing in technology, patents are a way to guarantee that, first of all, you have freedom to operate. In other words, no one else can come here and tell you, hey, you need to stop your operation because you're using a technology that belongs to us. It's not like that. As soon as you have the patent, the first thing you have is that freedom to operate. And that's the most important thing. So these patents will grant to the inventors, and mostly to the company that is hiring those inventors or to the company that owns the patent, the exclusive rights to that invention. In general, it's for a limited time, right? But it's a pretty extensive time period, which is 20 years. That for tech patents is more than enough. So why patents matter for startups? In general, startups need to raise money. Every time you go through a fundraising process, you need to pass through the due diligence. And a very important part of a due diligence is the legal due diligence related to patents, in where if you have a technology, the first thing that lawyers coming from the other side will try to do is to challenge you and show you that there are patents out there that somehow intercept with your technology, with the technology that you claim you have in your startup or the technology that you have created. And that's going to be a problem for you if you are not able to demonstrate that your technology and what you have created is not intersecting with those patents out there. If you are unable to demonstrate that, then you're going to be in trouble to raise money. That happened actually to me initially when we started raising Series A, and I didn't have any patents filed around the technology that I created. And when I realized about how hard it was to pass that due diligence, because I didn't have any patents, I said, I need to start working on this. And immediately I started the patent strategy in the company, and I started working and preparing the documentations and filing the first patents in the US. So you must think about your patent strategy at the very early stages of your startup or your technology. In general, you need to choose between two options. One is to keep your technology as a trade secret, meaning you're not filing a patent, but at the same time you're not revealing details of your technology, versus option two, which is actually patent your technology and revealing how that actually works. What I choose to do in general is something in the middle, where I do recommend to file patents to protect your technology, but to reveal only what is necessary to protect the core of it, whatever you believe is necessary to cover when it comes to revealing and protecting, but I wouldn't reveal the deepest secrets of your technology. For example, if your technology is an AI technology or a novel neural network architecture or a novel algorithm, I wouldn't reveal some specific parameters of your algorithm. I wouldn't reveal some of these small nuances that you've made that make the algorithm to actually work in practice. But I would reveal and protect the general structure of it and the approach. And I would use a very broad language to cover as much as possible without revealing those secret details. I'm also going to speak about the patent process, meaning what it takes to file patents. You need to build the documentation, and then you need to hire a lawyer, then you need to file, you need to wait for the response, write your own responses to the examiners, and continue the process until you get your first patent approved. So the process is extensive, it's sometimes overwhelming, but it's worth it. And you are going to learn a lot during that journey. So one of the most important things is to focus on true innovations, meaning like you cannot go out there and start filing patents on whatever you do. You need to be very conscious that in general, there are thousands of patents out there trying to protect a bunch of approaches and algorithms. And if you really want to have a patent that is worth it and that is going to bring an upside to your company, it has to be a true innovation, meaning some piece of technology that is really novel. It's novel because the algorithm is novel, or it's novel because the application is truly novel, or it's novel because the way you gather data, your model, your approach, whatever is a novelty that is creating value for the business. So that means that you need to make research and you need to guarantee and be sure that what you have developed is new and there's nothing similar out there. Okay, so as soon as you are sure that you have a novel invention that is adding value to your company that wasn't done before, then you need to start working in your patent. For example, things that are not enough for a patent, it could be if you grab a PyTorch library and you implement a known neural network architecture, and then you train that architecture on a proprietary database, and you have like a classifier trained out of that proprietary data, that is not worth it to be a patent, because even though the data is proprietary and maybe the model is going to be unique in that sense, there's no innovation from the technology perspective. The architecture is known, you just imported a library, and your approach was very common when it comes to AI technologies, for example. On the other hand, imagine that you have a problem in your company and you realize that none of the traditional approaches in artificial intelligence are covering your needs. It cannot be framed under a traditional classification or prediction setup. Also, that is not a traditional unsupervised learning setup or whatever, or all the known setups. And you realize that you need to create a totally different system for that. And that system involves many steps, and usually those steps are novel, and the way you connect those steps are novel as well. The way you use each output on every stage of your system is novel, and the way you use that information and the way you adapt your model is novel as well. Those kind of things are worth it to file as new patents. And those are the technologies that you should be pursuing when it comes to trying to find innovative solutions coming from the tech side. For example, in the AI world, you've seen lastly that there are a bunch of novel architectures, but if you do a double click and you start looking at those AI architectures, you will see that most of the inner pieces of the architecture are known. They were developed before. But the novelty is in the way they connect the whole architecture, or the novelty is in the way they train the architecture. And that creates the possibility to publish that work as a novel work, right? So in the industry, it should be kind of the same thing. You might find a bunch of pieces out there that the way they are designed originally are not going to work as you expect, but as soon as you start connecting them differently, as soon as you start using them differently, finding this system that is connecting the whole pieces in a different way, ending up in an architecture that as a system works differently, then that worth to be filed as a potential patent. Also, it's important to assess the commercial potential of it. Maybe you can just want the patent to have the freedom to operate. That could be an alternative. Another reason to have the patent, it could be, I want to make sure in my startup I'm going to approve all the due diligence in my fundraising series. Or maybe I want to have a patent that will set me in a better negotiation position when it comes to close deals with my partners. For example, if you have a new technology that is going to be a core in a B2B business model, and you will need to go out there to persuade companies to partner up with you and pay you for using your technology, then having patents is helping you to be in a better negotiation position. Because if they tell you, we are going to develop that technology in-house, or we are going to go to work with another company that has the same technology you have, then you are going to be in a much better negotiation position because you have the patent approved and you can tell, hey, this technology is patented. That means that if you are planning to do it in-house, you are going to violate or infringe my technology, and then we will have to discuss that issue. Maybe you will need to pay us for a licensing fee if you want to use or develop that technology that is my technology. Or you can go after these companies that are claiming that they do the same you do and sending letters and tell, hey, it seems that you are using my technology, so let's discuss a potential collaboration such that we make sure that you are not intersecting with the patent I have. And in case you do, then let's discuss on a commercial relationship for you to continue your operation. Or in the worst case scenario, you can go in a litigation process that I strongly recommend to avoid because it's extremely expensive, and for sure you're not going to have enough resources to go down that path because you have a startup. Then the idea is to find an agreement with these other parties. But in general, if your technology is novel, then probably there will not be other companies out there claiming they have the same technology, and probably you are going to be among the first ones offering that service. But your patent is always going to help you when it comes to have those commercial conversations. Regarding the technical feasibility, you always need to make sure that your technology actually works. It's not just, I have an idea, I create a bunch of PowerPoint slides, and then I file a patent after a document that I write with an idea of a technology without actually testing it. You need to make sure that you conduct real case scenario tests in where you validate your technology with the real data in the real scenario with all the necessary users and actors as part of the evaluation process. And you need to present those results in your patent. So again, do not file patents on ideas that are not fully validated, because then you will find yourself in the situation in where your technology is not actually doing what you claim it does, and then you will face a bunch of challenges with your examiner. After having all those real scenario tests, it's important that you present your results in a very intelligent way without revealing core secrets of your technology, but at the same time making sure that you are proving that your technology is working and is actually doing what you claim it does. Deciding on the list of inventors is very important as well, because in general, you want to have in that list every single person that somehow contributed to that patent, meaning people that were there in brainstorming the ideas, that added something into the ideas that were part of that technology, and of course, everyone that was actually writing code or building any piece of that technology. That team should be entirely part of the inventors list. Of course, it's very important that before you start filing your patents, you need to make sure that you know very well what patents are around. So there are a bunch of software, or sometimes your lawyers can help you with that, but you need to go online and gather every single patent that has keywords that might intercept with your technology, revise them, and make sure that those patents are not exactly what you are trying to file. You need to also make sure that you are adding all the necessary references to your patent, because if you're missing some of them, then you want to engage in extra iterations during the review process that is slow and that costs you a lot. So if you include all the references, your document is going to be in better shape and you're increasing the chances that your patent is going to be approved. Keep in mind that if the examiner is detecting that in general you are missing many of the references, then he's going to be in a more negative position. He's going to reject your claims, and you are going to go over and over in endless iterations to get your patent approved. So that's why it's important that you make all this revision and that you include the necessary references to have a stronger document. A very important part of your patenting process is to find the right legal partner. Of course, you cannot do this without the help of a lawyer. Let's say you start trying to file your patent in the US. You are going to need a legal partner that helps you reviewing the document, filing the patent, doing all the follow-ups with the examiners. Usually they know the examiners. Sometimes they would go over the phone and discuss some of the details. So you need a lawyer with a lot of experience, where you can see that there's a big track of the bunch of patents out there that were filed and approved with the help of that attorney. That's very important. Also make sure that you're engaging with a patenting firm that is big enough, because sometimes you have like one lawyer working independently. The problem is that his economical situation is going to be more unstable, and sometimes those lawyers decide to quit their job. And then you find yourself in this situation with a bunch of pending patents without the help of anyone, and you will need to go and hire someone else and onboard that person in the complete process. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that your firm is stable enough and is going to survive to some economical crisis or a pandemic or something like that, and you will still count on them. So you can envision your relationship more like a long-term relationship with them, and they will stay there with you for many years, hopefully. Cost is a very important thing, because a set of patent rapidly can scale from costing you like $1,000 or $2,000 a month to $50,000 a month, very rapidly as you are filing more and more patents. So you need to go deeper on every single step of the costs that they are charging you to make sure that you are aligned on that. So you need to decide on the cost. Also, you need to pay attention to the attorney that is going to work with you. That person needs to have a very fluent communication with you, answer your WhatsApps, your emails rapidly, and be there for whatever modifications you would like to do. Whenever you iterate with that person, when you are reviewing the document together, you need to make sure that that person understands every single detail of the patent you are filing, meaning that that attorney has to have a lot of knowledge, for example, in the technology side, but at the same time in the patent side. And it turns out that there are a bunch of attorneys with all that knowledge. For example, you can know an attorney with enough experience to understand electronics, computer science, algorithms, machine learning, AI, data science, and at the same time, all the legal aspects of that. That is the person you want, because you want that person to challenge you whenever you write your patent or to bring you new ideas. And that person is going to be the one that with her or his experience is going to transform your sentences in sentences that are going to have a broader scope of what they are covering, and your patent is going to be much better from that sense. Is going to cover more without necessarily revealing more secrets. So that's why your legal partner is key when it comes to file the best possible patents. Another very important part of your patents are your strategy. And here it's mostly up to you. You as one of the technology creators, or maybe as a founder of your company, you need to create a patent strategy, meaning you need to decide what pieces of technology you are going to file. Probably you and your team are going to create a bunch of new algorithms, a bunch of technologies, but you cannot go out there and patent every single piece of code that you develop. You need to decide on patenting only the core technologies, the ones that are the main pillars of your business and technology. And also you need to be efficient from the cost perspective. If you go out there and file whatever you develop, then very soon you're going to face budget problems. You're not going to be able to have resources to pay for all the cost of maintaining all those patents. At the same time, besides deciding what technology you need to patent, you need to decide where to patent. You can basically file patents everywhere in the world. In general, you want to go after countries that usually are very well known for technology development. So maybe you want to file patents in India, in South Korea, China, besides the US, right? To make sure that in general all these tech hubs are aware of your presence when it comes to technology development. Related to the application of your technology in some field that is not necessarily the same field of your tech. For example, imagine you develop an AI technology for mining, and then your AI technology is helping the exploration of the ground to find new minerals. Then, of course, you will patent your algorithms and your technology behind that. But at the same time, you want to file patents in countries that are known for their mining industry. So there you have the application of your technology, and the application plays a role as well. So you want to file patents in all those countries in where mining is a big industry, and eventually competitors are going to come out there. So that's why your patent must be filed in those countries as well. At the end, the best news is when you get the notice of allowance, in where basically your patent is approved, and then it's just a matter of time to have that patent actually published or issued, right? In general, you need to pay an issue fee. That takes a few weeks, and then after the issue fee, then you're ready to receive your email in where they are communicating you that your patent is finally issued. After you have your patents approved, then you're facing a bunch of decisions. Lawyers will recommend you to go and file continuations, because continuations have the upside of protecting your extension of your invention from the date of the original filing. So imagine you have a patent, and then you hear that one of your competitors are going to develop a new technology. You can go develop the same technology as an extension of your prior technology, and you file a continuation, and that continuation is going to have the date of the original patent, meaning that you can protect that new extension of the technology back in time, something that your competitors cannot do. The problem of continuations is that whenever you start filing more and more continuations, then you start getting more and more expenses, because of course you need to pay for every single continuation you file, and you need to pay your legal fee for the maintenance of those continuations. So it's very important that you only file continuations on the patents that are core for your business and for your patent strategy. You cannot go and file endless continuations for every single patent you have. So that was a quick summary of what it takes to file patents. It's a very interesting journey. You really will learn a lot. It's a very important part of your business. It helps you to build valuation for your company. It helps you to set your company as a pioneer in the field where you're working. So I definitely recommend to engage in that journey, but partially, because again, the IP strategy takes, besides time, a lot of money for your company. So make sure that you start small with the very few patents that are really the most important patents of your startup, but then only start filing more patents as you know that you have enough funds to afford the entire process.